Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Today, guys, it's Friday. It's our last episode of the week, and I want to leave you with something to think about and do a few exercises that can help you to build up your habit building muscle. So I'm reading this book. It's called Tiny Habits, and you can, Google it and find it on Amazon. It's all about the best ways, the best proven scientifically and experimentally proven best ways to change our habits. Now, choosing some hard habit and the most inconvenient habit, the most hardcore habit that makes you cringe is really not the best way to build habits. The way to build habits is to we already talked a lot about this week, about how to build habits. What are some great ways to do so? Yesterday we talked about making it easy as an important aspect of habit building. But Tiny Habits, it offers even more science that you can actually work with to build our habits. So what do I mean by that? So there is this concept that in order for us to build any habit or any behavior, good or bad, there are going to be three things present. So three things. We gotta have motivation to do that habit. We basically want to do that habit on some level. We need to have an ability to do that habit. So basically, it needs to be easy. It needs to be available to us. And then the third one, we need some sort of prompt or trigger, something that reminds us of that habit or makes us do this habit at this specific moment in this specific situation. So, for example, I used to eat a lot of nuts, and at some point it became a problem because it would crowd out other foods like vegetables and other protein sources that were more beneficial for my balanced nutrition plan. And also it didn't allow me to stay as energetic, as fit as I wanted to be. I would just eat a lot of nuts and nut butters. And I couldn't figure out, why can't I stop if I know it's not the best for me? But the reason was there was motivation. Like, I liked nuts and seeds and nut butters, so I had motivation to eat more. Usually for food, we always have motivation, right? We always want to eat more and are motivated to seek more food, especially foods that we enjoy. It was easy because whenever I would go food shopping, and I couldn't avoid that, I would go shopping to a specific food store that was right by the nut shop. So it was easy for me to get those nuts, and then I would bring them home, and they would be at the house, and I would eat them because they were right there in my house, easily available. Plus the shop was right there. And guys, pay attention. There was that prompt, that trigger. So every time I go shopping, I would see that store, that nut shop, and I would get in and buy nuts and seeds. Plus the shop assistants, people who work there, they already knew me, and they're like, oh, Angela, she always buys a lot of nuts, so let me give you some deals and offer like the best selection, the freshest ones. And so there was this trigger, people were actually reminding me of this habit, and then my brain would go into that experience of eating my favorite nuts and seeds. And so basically I would bring them home, and I would eat them. How did I stop this habit? Actually, very simply. I stopped shopping at that grocery store. And I was still motivated to eat those nuts, but then now I had to make a separate trip to that nut shop to get those nuts. And So I wouldn't go there and I wouldn't bring any nuts home. So anytime I would want to eat a lot of nuts, that I didn't have any at home, and I would specifically have to go to that shop to get them. And since I was trying to work on that habit to eat less nuts, before going that, the thought would pop up that I actually am working on eating less. So why would I go to that shop specifically if I want to eat less? Plus, I would have to get dressed and get out there and get them. So I made it less available. I made it not so easy. There were never nuts in my house anymore, or nut butters. And I eliminated the trigger. I wouldn't go to the same store. And even though in my new store where I started to do my grocery shopping, there was nut section too, but they were all packaged and they didn't look that, appetizing. And it was not my usual environment where I would get my nuts. So I didn't have that trigger. It just didn't do it for me. Actually, I wouldn't even go to those aisles where they sell nuts and nut butters. And so my habit kind of eliminated itself, it seems. But what I did is, I had still motivation. I still loved my nuts. But then now I made it more difficult. So my ability decreased a lot. And then there was no trigger, no prompt. And those two things helped me to stop eating nuts. It's not like, I had some nut addiction and I would go even if the store was on the other side of the town. So that's just one example. Or another example, how I make certain habits like drinking water consistent for myself. I have this bright pink, colored, popping pink cup that half a liter cup, or it's somewhere in between cup and bottle. So anyhow, I have this cup and it's this bright popping color, and it's always somewhere visible, like maybe on my desk or somewhere else where I keep my water and where it's, where I spend quite a lot of time. So every time I see this cup, I think about water. So, and if for some reason I haven't been drinking enough, I will stop and drink that water. So I am motivated to drink water because I know how good it makes me feel, energetic, cognitively sharp, and great workouts. And I just feel amazing, drinking water. I know that water is important. So I have motivation. I want to drink more water. Is it easy? Yeah, it's right there. Somewhere, whether in kitchen or on my desk, depends on the apartment or where I live. So it's easy, but then sometimes we just forget, right? We just forget things that we want to do if something doesn't remind us about them. So I have this cup, bright pink, and there is nothing pink in my house. So it's really easy to notice. And I don't hide it. It's again on my desk or somewhere where I see it several times a day. And it reminds me that I need to drink water, and that's what it means to have a prompt or a trigger. And science shows us that successfully implemented or successfully done behaviors, something that we do on a regular basis, whether that's a desirable habit or undesirable habit, those habits, those behaviors that we actually do, they have those three things. We need to have motivation. So we, on some level, want to do that. Like if you want to exercise, for example, well, exercise and movement might not be your favorite thing yet, but on some level, you do want to do more exercise because you know how good it makes you feel physically and mentally. Just sometimes, it's hard to make yourself do that, but you do have the motivation, right? So the second thing that our habits, our behaviors that we do consistently need to have, the second thing is ability, or what I like to call it, easiness. It's going to be pretty easy. We need to have good ability to do that habit without too much friction, too many obstacles. So whatever that habit is for you that you're trying to build, like exercise, try to make it as easy as possible. Again, yesterday we talked about easiness and asking yourself that question, what is the easiest way for me to start this habit? Maybe 5-minute workout on your phone that you do every morning, maybe walk around the block to start consistency. We also talked about consistency over intensity. Maybe you gotta get a buddy who's gonna take you out for a short run around the block, like 5-minute. Again, don't make it 5 miles because that's gonna be too hard. We are trying to make the ability, the easiness, we're trying to increase that as much as possible. And also maybe work on our motivation, like repeat to ourselves why we want to do this, so that mentally increases motivation. So ability or easiness and motivation. And the third thing that those habits that we consistently do, whether we want them or not, the third thing that those habits have, that the ones that we do, is prompt or trigger. So something reminds us of that habit. Something gotta remind us of that habit that we do that makes us start doing it. So if you are trying to avoid sweets, for example, think about it. Like, how easy it is for you. Like, are those sweets in your house? Like, if yes, why are they there? If you're trying to not eat too many of them, make it difficult, not easy, right? But then something triggers you. That might be an event. Maybe every time you have a difficult conversation or something stressful, or maybe every time you have your lunch or dinner, you're just used to eating something sweet. That's your trigger. After dinner, I eat sweets. So maybe instead of having sweets after dinner, maybe eat something else, like maybe dark chocolate or a handful of nuts. And so now your trigger is, I have lunch and dinner and I have some healthy snack after. And now your trigger works for different things. Or maybe you get sweets. Like, how do sweets get in your house in the first place, right? Where do you get them? So maybe every time when you are at a checkout, you get something sweet or some snack that you don't want to be eating. So maybe now when you are at a checkout, get a gum, or like to start, or a piece of fruit, or whatever is better option there. So now your trigger again will work not for your sweets, but for something else. Or even better, don't go to the same shop. My eating habits, guys, the easiest way for me to change my eating habits for the better always was to move. Like, I would move to a new place and I would go to a new food store, to a new grocery store, and I would start buying things that I believe are in my best interest. And since I didn't have any triggers around certain places where I would get undesirable foods, like maybe sweets, since the whole environment changed, I didn't have those triggers anymore. And so I would just buy what I thought were the best choices. And so changing your supermarket might be a great strategy if it's something that you can actually do, right? So figure out what are those triggers or prompts that remind you of that habit that you don't want to do, right? And eliminate that. For the habits that you do want to do, like maybe exercise, create something. I always have, I exercise consistently because in my place, wherever I am, there are always like dumbbells or foam rollers lying around. And every time I see them, I'm like, okay, now I gotta do some foam rolling or some exercise. So for your workouts, put out your workout clothing, something where you see it. So every time you look at it, you remember that, I want to exercise, and also it's going to be easy for you to start because the clothing is already out there. You don't have to take it out and think about what you wear. So it's going to combine the trigger, the prompt, and your ability. It's going to make it easier. So let's recap, let's repeat. In order for us to do any habit, good or bad, there are 3 things that are present. Motivation, so we gotta want to do that. on some level, easiness or ability. It's usually easy for us to do what we do if we do it. And then prompt or trigger, something that reminds us of that behavior. If you are guilty, like many of us these days, of checking your phone all the time or scrolling through Facebook or Instagram feed, then motivation is there. You want to do that on some level. Easiness is there because you already are doing something on your phone. And then there's trigger. You pick up your phone to make a call or check your emails for some reason. And then next thing you remember, you are scrolling for 15 minutes through your Instagram or Facebook feed, right? So you gotta eliminate something, maybe remove the ads, or not the ads, but the apps, so it's not that easy to scroll through those feeds on Facebook or Instagram, and put them back only when you decide to check on your social media or Facebook. So you might eliminate the easiness, or not pick up your phone while working, check your email on your computer or laptop. So work on ability, on easiness, and on trigger, right? And for the habits that you actually want to do, increase your motivation by reminding yourself why you want to do this habit. Increase the easiness or your ability. Somehow, first of all, ask yourself that question: what's the easiest way for me to start that habit? And then also make it easier by putting your clothing out there, or putting your vegetables out there, or maybe fruit or berries, whatever you want to eat more of. So make it super easy, and then figure out a way to remind yourself of that new habit you're building. Like maybe if you want to eat more vegetables, then maybe put them out there on the counter where you see them. If you want to drink more water, have this popping pink colored cup that I have, and that will remind you of water. So whatever habit you want to do more of, create some trigger that will remind you of that habit. And for habits that you want to do less of, like maybe eating less sweets, figure out how to eliminate easiness trigger from your life, so you are not triggered, prompt to eat those foods, and so it's not easy. So if you are trying to eat less sweets, why do you have them in your house? Don't have them in your house. And maybe figure out how not to buy them too. So those are very practical things, guys, and that's science shows that's how we build habits, or how we stick with behaviors that we don't want to do. So use it and let me know how you do. I'm certainly going to be using more of this science to build up some habits that I do want to have, like working more consistently on my business, or challenging myself more, creating my content, now having better time assigned to my learning, so I'm not feeling exhausted and tired, and also so I don't skip it. Like I'm also will be working on creating different triggers to help me to study on time and more consistently, to get better at what I do, guys, to help you better, to create better content. So there are always habits and things that we are working on. And so the more we use the science that we now have as human beings, as society, the easier it's going to be for us, and the less time, less motivation it's going to take to actually build those habits and keep them as long as we need them. So guys, share this episode with someone, walk through it, talk through it together, figure out what habits together you're going to be working on, and just talk to each other about that, and keep each other accountable and share progress. Let me know how you do, and if something wasn't clear, I'm going to do my best to clarify it. Look up that book, Tiny Habits. Might be something that you want to get more into, like all the details, because there are quite a lot of details to help you build better habits and avoid habits that you don't want to do. So Tiny Habits, that's the name of the book. I'm going to be blogging about it, so also stay tuned for that next week. And hey guys, have an awesome weekend. Thank you for tuning in today. And till next time, as usual, eat better daily.